Hey guys, it's Ray, and today I've got a secret.
A secret toilet. Shh.
During the day, it's hidden beneath this long butcher block countertop that holds my air fryer and a double burner stove. The top has a unique bifolding design to get it out of the way in a hurry, freeing up precious floor space and revealing my DIY, super low profile emergency toilet.
In this video, I'll show you how I made it. I'll list all the materials used and I'll break down the cost. Before we get into the build, I want to show you how easy it is to get from the sofa to the toilet. You just pivot around like this and then sit on down. It's a tight fit, but it's only for emergencies or for rainy days, and I've got everything I need within arm's reach. Right down here, I've got my cedar chips as cover material, and right down there, I've got my toilet paper. It's also easy at night. I've got it in bed mode here. I've got my pillows and my blanket, and I sleep with my head at this end, so I'm close to my CPAP machine. I've got the mask, and if I have to get up in the middle of the night, I just take my mask off and I scooch up to the front like this, and I have plenty of room for my feet, and I got plenty of headroom, and I keep a pee bottle up here, and usually this is all I need, but I have plenty of room to get to the toilet. It's not hard. I just pivot like this, and I'm in place. No problem. Okay, playtime's over. Let's build this thing. You know, you probably noticed these hinges here on the countertop. Well, I just take this part of the countertop, fold it back here, and it has some magnets that hold it in place, and then I lean it up, the fan pivots out of the way, and now I have access to this beautiful box, which, you guessed it, is my emergency toilet. Here I've opened it up so you can see how it's made. Down here I've got a low profile wood box with a couple of wood dividers. Up here is a custom 3D printed urine diverter that I designed to go into this very, very small water jug. That's right in there. And then instead of a 5-gallon bucket, I use a 3-gallon bucket with a flat edge, very short. It snugs in right there. And then of course I line it with a paper bag. Here's a quick look at what I use as cover material. Right beside the toilet, I keep a small black bin with cedar wood shavings. Just toss a couple scoops into the lined bucket, do your business, and cover it with a couple more scoops. And finally, in the bottom left corner, I have a small exhaust fan that I use, and here's a custom built charcoal filter that snaps on top of it and keeps all of the smells out. Here I've got the toilet box out of the van so you can see it better, and I can show you why I made it this way. A lot of minivan builds use a 5-gallon bucket system, and that works for most people, but because I'm over 6 feet tall and because the interior height in my minivan is shorter than others like Sienna, Odyssey, and Caravan, I knew I was going to have to make my toilet really low profile. A 5-gallon bucket is about 14 inches tall. Add a wood top and a toilet seat, and it doesn't leave much headroom for a taller person to sit comfortably. So I bought a 3-gallon bucket, which is only 11 inches tall. And that's how I chose the height of the box. It needed to be just tall enough to hold the 11-inch bucket. Then I got the shortest water container I could find for the urine separation. I landed on this 1.5-gallon rectangular jug. It has a lid and a handle, so it's easy to lift out. Couple things. You'll notice I drilled a hole in the round blue cap. That's for the urine diverter to fit into. And you can see here that I cut the green plastic nozzle off the front and sealed it with a product called water weld. That's the dried white stuff. That took 1.5 inches off the total width, which meant I could make the base box smaller. That might not seem like a lot, but without that change, my convertible sofa would not have the clearance to open to a bed. I'll run this video in slow motion so you can see just how tight the clearance is when converting to a bed. The frame just barely clears the base of the toilet box by about 1/2 inch. I love it when a plan works out. Once I had the bucket and the water container in place, I built the base of the box to fit around those. The base measures 20.5 inches long by 14 inches wide by 11.5 inches high. Next, I added a thin piece of wood across the middle inside to hold the bucket tightly in place. I also added a black window seal material around the top edges to make it airtight. Now with the base complete, I cut a wood top about 16 inches wide and about 2 inches longer than the size of the base. I marked where the toilet seat mounting holes would go, and I traced a line along the inside edge of the seat. Then I made a cut line a couple inches wider than that. Then I cut the hole with a jigsaw. Next, I mounted the top board to the base using a 16-inch continuous hinge, also known as a piano hinge. This makes it easy to lift and hold it in place. I installed a small, super quiet 12-volt 3-speed exhaust fan. On the inside in front of the fan, I fashioned an air filter using a small strainer and cheap carbon pouch filters. It just wedges in place and covers the fan. I took it outside to test fit in the minivan. I chose the best location for it. I sat on it to test the headroom, and I tested clearances when lifting the top to make sure it opened smoothly and that it would stay open. The last thing I needed was a funnel to use as a urine diverter. I tested a bunch of funnels, and as you know, most of them are round and pretty small. I wanted a larger one, like you'd see in a commercial composting toilet, but all the larger ones were too deep for my shallow setup. Ultimately, I designed my own. I paid an artist to create a 3D file using measurements I provided, and I paid another company to print a 3D model of it. It fit great, and because it's made of ABS plastic, it should hold up to the elements. Wink, wink. That's it for the build. Now let's look at a cost breakdown for the toilet. I spent $60 on the quiet close elongated toilet seat, $50 for the printing of the urine diverter. I used a company called Craft Cloud. I paid an artist I found on Fiverr $37 to make the 3D design, $8 for foam weather strip, $7 for the water weld, $27 for the 12-volt fan, $25 for wood, $20 for a continuous hinge, $17 for a 3-gallon bucket, $8 for carbon filter pouches, $6 for a small strainer, and finally I spent a couple bucks on screws. All that comes to a grand total of $267. That is a lot of money for a toilet, and this one is great, but if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably just buy something cheaper.
Would a toilet like this one work for you? Let me know in the comments. If you find this video interesting, please like it and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it.
That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.